Hey, what's good though? Welcome to the next installment of Yap. Yeah, we're just yapping here, bro. Let's see what I got on my desk. We got some neem leaf powder. Neem leaf powder? Neem leaf powder? You know, I actually had this idea from the last video. We're gonna go to a random page again. Random. Eliphaz. Then Eliphaz, bear with me here, guys. Bible session. Then Eliphaz the Temanite replied, If someone ventures a word with you, will you be impatient? But who can keep from speaking? Think how you have instructed many, how you have strengthened feeble hands. Your words have supported those who stumbled. You have strengthened faltering knees. But now trouble comes to you, and you are discouraged. It strikes you, and you are dismayed. Should not your piety be your confidence? I don't know what piety means, but I like where this is going so far. Should not your piety be your confidence, and your blameless ways your hope? Consider now who, being innocent, has ever perished. Where were the upright ever destroyed? As I have observed, those who plow evil and those who sow trouble reap it. At the breath of God they perish. Damn. At the blast of his anger they are no more. The lions may roar and growl, yet the teeth of the great lions are broken. The lion perishes for lack of prey, and the cubs of the lioness are scattered. Whoa, where am I reading? Oh, this is Job. I didn't even look at what I was reading. A word was secretly brought to me. My ears caught a whisper of it. Amid disquieting dreams in the night, when deep sleep falls on people, fear and trembling seized me and made all my bones shake. A spirit glided past my face, and the hair on my body stood on end. It stopped, but I could not tell what it was. A form stood before my eyes, and I heard a hushed voice. Can a mortal be more righteous than God? Can even a strong man be more pure than his maker? If God places no trust in his servants, if he charges his angels with error, how much more those who live in houses of clay, whose foundations are in the dust, who are crushed more readily than a moth. Between dawn and dusk, they are broken to pieces. Unnoticed, they perish forever. Are not the cords of their tent pulled up so that they die without wisdom? Yo, I was clowning at first, bro, but this is freaking powerful. And I don't even really know. But it just seems, when you're just like in the presence of something and like you don't know what it is, you don't know what's actually being conveyed, or why when you stepped in this room you felt something, but you just know. You know without knowing. Or more accurately said, this knowing isn't true knowing. Like intuitive knowing is more in alignment with truth. Because I guess I kind of understand what I'm reading, but if I were to summarize it right now, what I just read, I couldn't. My mind is blank right now. But as I'm reading it, because it's the word of God, bro. You don't even have to know what you're reading. You're not supposed to read it to understand it, especially not your first go around. And this is like my first go around. No cap. Like something of a venturing from cover to cover, never been done before in my life. Yet man is born to trouble as surely as sparks fly upward. But if I were you, I would appeal to God. I would lay my case before him. He performs wonders that cannot be fathomed, miracles that cannot be counted. He provides rain for the earth. He sends water on the countryside. The lowly he sets on high, and those who mourn are lifted to safety. He thwarts the plans of the crafty so their hands achieve no success. He catches the wise in their craftiness, and schemes of the wily are swept away. Honestly, this is what I like a lot. If someone ventures a word with you, will you be impatient? But who can keep from speaking? This isn't just because I think all the good that Job has done. I think this is him like in his toil after God was like, okay, Satan, do whatever you want to him. Or it's something like Satan. I don't know if it was Satan actually. And these are his friends. Um, like, how are we not gonna say anything to you guys? How are we not gonna say anything to you, guy? Like, we love you and you've done all these things for us. How can I not speak? But my mind interpreted this differently, especially out of context. But who can keep from speaking? And then I think of Nietzsche when he said, who's more strong, the one who needs to speak, the one who needs to debate, or the one who doesn't? Who has more strength? If you say something and I need to say something, like something in me like propels me forward and I need to say something, one, I'm not in control, and one, it's weak, because the powerful one has no need for debate. He debates out of not necessity or a needing or an extreme wanting, an impulse, an urge. I don't know, the fun of it, something more of that. But who can keep from speaking? Who's strong enough? And not strength in like, oh yeah, WrestleMania. Not like that type of strength. It's a mental, um, it's a mental thing. Like strength in the way of how many captors, not captors, how many spirits hold you captive? How many impulses hold you captive? How many urges and desires hold you captive? One urge being the need to debate. You're a captive. You're a slave to this urge. We'll close that. Yeah. How many spirits are you a slave to? How many I need tos are in your life? How many times do you need to do something out of it's a needing, and it's not even an actual necessity. It's an emotional need. But not even in the way where like it's in relationships, I guess people have emotional needs that need to be met, just like making someone feel loved. Aside from that, emotional chaotic needs. I don't even know the best way to frame it, but how many needs do you have? How many times are you meditating and you need to go eat and you need to go watch YouTube, and now all of a sudden you need to go fold and do laundry? Now you need to go work out. You're being still, but now you need to move. How many times do you need to move? How many times do you need to interpret? And you need to conceptualize, and you need to label, and you need to narrate, and you need to analyze and break down and logic things out, and need to overthink. You're a captive. You're a victim. Slave! You got to keep your humor about you, bro, all right? It's not, nothing really in life is that serious. Even the demons you have, the darkness, it's not that serious. In the grand scheme of things, we're on a rock, floating in space, communicating with a made-up language. This isn't even like a language. This isn't even truth. We just make noises. In all actuality, it's not even there's when you have a thought like a thought that Jordan Peterson or Alan Watts would properly articulate, but then like as you're trying to articulate it, it kind of just like it gets more fuzzy. It's like, oh, you're trying. Hold up. I came to you for a brief second, but I didn't think you were gonna actually actualize me. And then it starts like fuzzling and fizzing. And nothing's that serious because all of our problems are at the micro level. And when you zoom out from the micro level to the macro, it's harmony. If you zoom into this neem leaf powder container, it's a bunch of molecules and neurons, not neurons, but electrons and protons vibrating. Ching. Seeming chaos, seeming disorder, just a bunch of like kink, 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 kink. But then you zoom out and you get this coherent, solid result from all of that chaos on the macro level. It's the same with your problems. When you hike up to the top of a mountain and you look down, it's beautiful and harmonious. But did you ever think that people down there that you're looking at are having midlife crises, just got evicted, the rent's not paid, all of these things are happening, but you're on the top of the mountain and you see a beautiful horizon. You're in an airplane looking down, you see the clouds and the landscape and it looks beautiful. But someone in that direction that you're looking at is struggling and stressed. Think about that. My problems are only problems because I think them to be. Micro, super micro level. Micromanagement. They're micromanager of micromanagers. That's who you are. Nothing, William Shakespeare quote, nothing is good or bad, but thinking makes it so. And then you can unpack that. Obviously you can go to like Hitler and Nazi Germany and all the extremes of the thing. But at the end of the day, the extremes don't disprove the extremes, the exceptions. They actually prove the rule. So let's operate in the middle. Let's operate on the averages. Can you disprove it? In the middles, not on the extreme ends. Anybody can jump to the radical ends, the ends. But what about where mainly everybody else operates? Is everybody Hitler? No. Well, that's actually debatable, but that's a shadow conversation. What I say for another day? Should I unpack that? That's hikey and uncomfortable truth to come to, and I've heard this from Jordan Peterson. Everybody, the innate human capacity for true evil. And how putting that over your head, like I could never do something like that, is a disservice to you when it comes to your personal growth. Yeah, you wouldn't do it in the situation and circumstances that you grew up in. You wouldn't do it as your life is exactly. But what if you lived Hitler's life? You can, and then you're still filtering through your experience. You can't genuinely say what you would do in someone else's shoes. Because everything is a matter of circumstance. The Nazis were normal people. They were soldiers who were following orders. And when there's like a pecking order too. You follow the general's command. Yeah, there were some people who didn't. But for the most part, you're like, what the heck? This doesn't feel right. But I see other people doing it. The general just gave me the order. I look up to him as he's an authoritative figure. Was it the right thing to do? No. But did people do it because they seen other people do it? And were they something of normal, regular people? Yes. The Nazis, at least initially, they weren't like super monster people from birth. Maybe as you keep going along the process, they start to develop into that. But that's because of circumstance. Circumstance and experience molded them into whatever they ended up being. But in the beginning of the molding process, and also you got to keep in mind propaganda and brainwashing. We've all been propagandized and brainwashed to a degree. But did you have their brainwashing? Don't put the capacity for evil past yourself. Just because you haven't been put in a situation to act evil. If Look at your life. Have you actually ever really gotten the opportunity to be an evil person? To be molded into that? I'm not saying go off and venture to do that. If anything is blessed, it's a blessing that you haven't been put in those circumstances. But don't put it past you. Don't think that you're better than someone else just because you haven't lived their situation or their circumstances. Maybe your circumstances were more favorable and more fortunate, so you can have a more fortunate viewpoint and a more fortunate perspective. There's a lot of suffering out there. There's a lot of people who haven't had the best circumstances in life, but we'd still judge their perspective, not knowing that, or failing to think that their perspective is fueled by all of their experiences of life. We don't have compassion for one another. And granted, maybe if someone says something you don't agree with, you don't automatically think, oh, that's just because of how they grew up. Or potentially that's just because of how they grew up. But what do you think Jesus thought on the cross when they were nailing him to the cross? This is why he's the golden standard. This is why he is gold and we are not. We're gold plated. We're silver with gold paint on it sometimes because we give someone food and money sometimes. But when we're spat on and dragged across the street, what happens? Resentment, judgment, these things come out. Frustration. Jesus spat on, dragged across the street, nailed to the cross. What came out of him? Love and forgiveness. Because he's gold. Because he's gold, bro. The golden standard for morality. And this is how you know he wasn't just a man. Would any just man, I'm just a man, I'm just a human. What other man is doing that on the cross? Maybe a man can have that conclusion of forgive them, they don't know, afterwards. If they survive that and they had maybe some time to like ruminate on it and read the word of God, then maybe they can come to that conclusion of forgive them. But I'll venture off to say it's not happening moment by moment, especially with that circumstance. You're not nailing me to the cross and I'm saying forgive them. I'm saying, ow, 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 what the heck? I try to save you. Forget you. I'll see you. No. I'm going to heaven, but you're going to hell. But he didn't say that. But we're all saying that. We're different. He's different. All right, that turned into like a Jesus conversation. But I forgot where I was initially going with this. I'll try to wrap a bow on it. Let me bow it. Bowing, plane crash. Okay, that was bad. Let me not say that. Okay. Praying like monks, living like fools. Maybe that was a good segue to end it. Maybe not, but actually no. What were we talking about? Shadow components. The innate capacity for evil. Yeah. I don't really. This video was. It's interesting how it ended like this, but it started jokey. I don't think jovial is the word. It might be jovial. Just random. Just showing you. Just create, bro. I wasn't even sitting in the chair. I was standing in the chair, and then I opened the Bible to a random page. I started reading. Just create, bro. Just do anything. Document. Don't you want to see what you were doing 10 years down the line? And you never know. One thing that you could say could change somebody's life. One thing that God imparted on your heart. Blessings and wisdom and teachings from other people. One thing that maybe you don't think about too much. Maybe the way you speak. Maybe the way you carry yourself. Maybe something you say can change somebody's life. Even indirectly. Maybe it sparks that chain reaction. That one change in perspective, that one different thought, that one different action, and then the whole domino effect. Give generously. Give your time generously. Give whatever other people have blessed you with generously. Give generously. Give. Even if you think you have nothing to give. Even just you recording, looking awkward, doing nothing, somebody's gonna watch that and relate to it and like that content. I'd like that content, especially when I was first starting. Like I didn't like recording, I didn't like being behind the camera. Still sometimes a little iffy, but it's kind of it doesn't really matter anymore. But you'd see that content and you'd be like, wow, look at this person trying. Look at this person just like me on YouTube. And they have a video uploaded. They didn't think, what if everyone reacts to their video? What if all their family members and friends see the video and they all start judging them? Maybe they did and they uploaded anyway. That's a chain reaction changer. That's a pattern disrupt. Because previously all you've seen was people who have developed YouTube channels, developed quote unquote personalities, and you're like, but I'm not that. I don't even got like camera equipment. Bro, I got a camera right here, bro. I got a freaking 4K camera right here, bro. It's just less work to just set up the iPhone and start recording. This I gotta king, turn it on. Eventually I'll get to this. But I have more fun with the iPhone. I'm not gonna lie to you. I just put it up, start going. Be goofy, be serious, be whatever the heck. Just be, create, give. Don't be stingy, because that's how your whole entire inner experience gets filled with darkness. Generosity is what it's all about. Generosity is to gratitude, is to love, is to simple living. Stinginess is to resistance and judgment and like me, my, greed. Yeah. I guess I'll end it with that. Christ is King. Have a blessed day. If you made it this far, thank you very much. Salute.